Last time on Who Knows God audiobook.
A word you set tripping on a superior now? The elevator door opened. Candace called out to Justin, who was shooting dice in the terrace straight ahead. Just come get your girl. She about to transform into little E out here. Nah, fuck that. I just asked a simple ass question and you jumped in my motherfucking face like you about to do something. So pop off. Gwinn crunched her soft yet menacing hands into a mighty fist of rage. Pop off. Okay, so tell us a little bit about how you guys ended up clashing to the point where you got to take it out on each other in front of the whole tri-state area at this year's summer jam. Nah, he be coming at me sideways through the media and mutual friends and family saying this and that. Everybody got their limits, Wendy. Right, right. No, I feel you. So 50,000 on the line, winner takes all. I know you're excited. 50,000, you can get a whole lot of pounds of weed with 50,000. How was camp today? There was something in her mother's eyes that suggested that Gwinn should have been honest about it. Gwinn removed the key from her front door and glided it shut. She knew her mother wouldn't have been waiting near the door and slamming her with questions as soon as she got in for nothing, but she decided to push the envelope anyway. It was good, wheat. Without the slightest hesitation, Bernadette slapped the taste out of Gwynn's mouth. Get your ass in the room. She followed behind Gwinn, who was nursing the side of her stunned, stinging face. Gonna sit up here and lie straight to my damn face. 2 weeks they said that since you've been to camp. Welcome to the live webcast of this year's Summer Jam, live from the Meadowlands Arena in New Jersey. And yo, it's time for the main event. Y'all know it's time, right? Let me hear y'all make some noise. When Gwinn heard the roar of the crowd at the Meadowlands, her soul became jittered. She would have given a pair of designer frames to be in attendance. First coming to the stage out of Harlem, New York, mixtape legend and the video feed began to freeze as Aunt Nala's computer was nearing Gwyn in age. Over the momentary silence, Gwyn could hear the latch on the front door turn. She cut off the computer monitor, grabbed the first book she could reach, and flopped down on the love seat. Gwyn? Yes. I know you ain't in on that computer. Gwyn slammed the book into the cushion and got up as if she decided enough was enough. Nyla met her in the hallway in the main corridor of the apartment. What you were back there doing? Ew, why I gotta be like Rikers Island in here? Excuse me, young lady? Auntie Nyla, I wanna leave. Gwen hollered and pouted, her hearted, beautiful face in a failed attempt to stare her aunt down. That's your problem now. You think it's all about what you want. Get in the room. Gwen headed straight for the front door to the apartment, opened it, and slammed it behind her as hard as her might allowed. She caught the 101 bus across the street and rode it across Harlem, down Broadway, up 125th Street, then down Lexington Avenue, where she finally got off at 116th Street. She took a lay-low route into her old neighborhood and crept into building 1695. Gwen chose the 11th floor terrace at night. One of the first things that she noticed was a NOG van on the corner of 112th and 5th. She figured they were probably snapping pictures of the Bloods getting money in front of King Projects. Trevor, Kenneth, Bo, and Mac were all standing on 113th in front of what used to be Margot Sporting Goods, all in NYCMC t-shirts. Horse, Brian, and Oron pulled up and hopped out of a black car. Margot, Stump, LaRonda, and Jason got out of Margot's Jeep as it came to a screeching halt. Everyone was smiling and joking, talking loud. Jason had a bottle of champagne in the hand he had wrapped around LaRonda's neck. LaRonda was apparently telling a joke of some sort to Stump as they were chatting and laughing away. Oron reached in the trunk of his car and wrestled out a box. Horse grabbed the opposite side, and they waited for Margot, who walked up to the entrance of his old store and unlocked the door. Gwen pulled out a cell phone and dialed her brother's number. She watched the entourage across the street filing the MSG, one by one, as Junior's phone went straight to voicemail. She made her way downstairs. Convoys of first and second round Jessica sisters were arriving on the block as Gwinn stepped onto Madison Avenue, everyone heading into MSG. Yo, why's everyone going into Margot's old spot for? I thought that spot was closed now. Gwinn asked a sister who was standing in front of building 1695. I don't know. Tekk ripped J3 at Summer Jam. Maybe they going in there to celebrate, Tamara said without taking her eyes off the streets. If you working tonight, our orders are to be on the lookout for police and unmarked cars. And they paying us cash, too. Gwinn had her sights locked on the MSG, wondering what the hell was going on. Who gave those orders? She probed Tamara. LaRonda. Here. Aisha, the set general from Johnson Projects, tapped Gwinn on the back and handed her $200 for what Gwinn took to be her last week's pay. You been briefed on everything? She asked. Yeah, I guess so, Gwinn said, unconvinced, walking away with Asha. Oh, yeah, Tamara called back to Gwinn. And we ain't got no more dippers. We supposed to be out of that business. Asha posted Gwinn on the 17th floor of her old building, 1694. She been up there by her lonesome, alert and watching the streets until the elevator doors behind her swung open. Stump stepped out as calm and cool as could be, both his hands shoved in his pockets as he whistled a light tune, stepping selectively through the hallway. Rhonda followed in his wake, and finally Architekk. What's up, Lil G? Stump greeted, entering the terrace and looking out through the fence. Hey, what's up? She became uneasy. She wasn't able to figure them out by looking at them, and that made her uncomfortable. Jason didn't bother speaking. He joined Stump looking down onto 112th Street. So, G, you know what's up, right? I mainly need you to... The Rhonda began eyeballing the green Benz that pulled up in the parking lot, completely dismissing Gwinn. Well, look at this shit here. Gwinn noticed her father and Stump sharply focused on the same vehicle. What they think, they gonna park right in our hood and we ain't gonna see them? You sure you wanna put that order in, bro? Stump asked Jason, all the while looking at the car. Jason forfeited a response. He finally decided to look at his daughter, giving her a wise old smile. Who is that, Daddy? What you doing? Gwinn asked. That's the hip hop task force. They want to make sure your father don't walk out of these projects with $50,000 worth of weed, Stump said as he laughed and turned away, pulling out his Nextel to chirp up someone. All right, it's a go. Tomorrow night. September 11th, 2008. Gwinn saw Honey through her window as she pulled up in her mother's newly paved suburban driveway in a yellow cab. Gwinn, Bernadette yelled from the living room. Come downstairs. Gwinn hugged her sister, who was surprisingly sporting a new short hairstyle. The girls took seats next to one another on the opposite side of the room from Bernadette. So, you guys really think you could do this? Yes. Yeah, Ma. The sisters both answered promptly. Bernadette turned exclusively to Hollis. Honey? Yes, Miss Sessoms. Gwen is very respectful of me and my things. I'll make sure she sticks to whatever curfew you feel is appropriate and make sure she goes to school every day. I think it's going to be all good. That's what worries me, Bernadette said as she sat back in her chair. Ma, all right, all right. 1 week later, Gwen sat by her lonesome at the lunch table, her styrofoam tray packed with crap. The school year began a few days ago, but she hadn't eaten in the lunchroom until today. She popped a French fry in her mouth and looked around to check out the scene. Just as she was beginning to regret choosing to go to high school all the way in Brooklyn, a group of girls walked past her. Those shoes is tough, shorty. Where you get those from? Scheme on 25th, Gwen said as she popped another fry in her mouth. Oh, all right, the apparent leader of the crew put forth, a friendly hand. Ebony, she said. G. Gwen introduced herself like a ghost. Ebony nodded in respect, and the girls kept walking through the lunchroom. Gwen looked down at her blue Prada shoes and smiled, and the word went forth. Unit 4, Chapter 3. Tell 'em bring it. We ready for war. Jason Jordan Jr. Date, October 25th, 2008. Jason Jordan Jr. laid across his bed with his legs fully stretched out and a remote control pointed at his 57-inch plasma flat screen. Both the kids were in the next room napping. Well, I could always go back to work if need be, Lucretia said before Junior got up and left the room. Junior went to the studio in the basement where Red Out was smoking and playing video games with D. Junior played an instrumental from his system and nodded his head with imagination and all intentions of ripping the beat. He stepped into the vocal booth and put Red Out to work on the controls of the recording software of the computer. The opening bars of the instrumental passed, but nothing creative was flowing J3's way. Red Out held up his hands and began counting down with his fingers for Junior to jump in on cue. 3, 2, 1. Nothing. October 25th, 2008. Well, you know what, Rodney? I think it's time for you to do your own thing anyway then. Bernadette slammed the master bedroom door and stormed into her private bathroom and took a look around her. The large sunken bathtub with jet streams, a vanity mirror, and a huge backyard out back. She took a seat on the basin and wondered what she was going to do now. October 25th, 2008. Jason sat in silence on his prayer mat with his legs folded and his dreads resting on his shoulders. He was staring out across his self-constructed deck in mellow contemplation when LaRonda's image appeared in the glass in front of him. He turned around. LaRonda smiled, holding a large object covered with a sheet of black plastic. Jason stood to his feet as she pulled the plastic off, revealing his gold plaque for his album The Dread. We did it, baby. October 25th, 2008. Gwinn strutted past a group of seniors who she noticed had been paying her a high-level attention and talking about her behind her back. She continued listening to 50 Cent and texting on her iPhone as she walked right past them to her 8th period class. God gave me style, God gave me grace. October 25th, 2008. Hi, Jake. I wanted to introduce you to a new rep coming to the floor today. Her name is Hollis Jordan, but she says all her friends call her Honey. And by looking at her, I don't think we need a board meeting to see why. Excuse you? Whoa, darling, I was just kidding. And it came to pass that Gwinn and her sister began to share Hollis's small living quarters in harmony. It came to pass that with time invested, Gwinn began to confide in her father, and she allowed him to do the same. It came to pass that with the change in the weather, there were changes in the lives of the people. Gwinn found a place and purpose with the challenges that came along with her first year of high school. It came to pass that she gained greater knowledge of the world and the people around her. With the help of acquired readings such as Brave New World, Things Fall Apart, and the Da Vinci Code. She was reading Fly Girl on the side. It came to pass that Gwinn changed the station on the music she was listening to, becoming more appreciative of different styles of sound, less hardcore. And would you believe that the 14-year-old young lady even had Architekk's entire catalog downloaded to her MP3 player? The word went forth. October 30th, 2008. Mr. Bauer stood from his chaotic desk and pulled his trousers up along his protruding waist. So you guys obviously know that the presidential election is next week, right? Go Barack. Oh, okay. Thanks for that, Terrell. Okay, so hell yeah, Barack gonna win, yo. Barack ain't winning. They ain't gonna let a black man run this whole dang on country. Y'all bugging. Well, let's see. We'll see. But listen, guys, I bet you if he do win, he gonna be in the Oval Office getting head like my son Bill Clinton. Guys, the class finally quieted down enough not to give Mr. Bauer a stroke. Thank you. Okay, I decided I'm gonna do this. Since you guys didn't care for the Great Gatsby too much, I'm gonna let you hand in a paper on the significance of having an African American as president of the United States. How many pages? Give me 4 typed pages, double space. The bell signifying the end of the fifth period rang from the loudspeaker. And no, that doesn't mean hit the space bar twice after every word you type, Lamar. Have a good weekend, guys. After school, Gwinn took the 2 train uptown and stopped by her old project to see what was good. It was slow. No sisters were out, and the police had all the hustlers scattered about. Gwinn had decided to go to Kim's apartment in Johnson's projects when she saw a mob of sisters walking up Park Avenue. They were on the prowl, blued up and at least 20 deep, looking for trouble. Amanda, the said general, was among the girls in the front. China and Aisha were rolling as well. Gwinn knew whatever they were about to get into, they were getting into it deep. And she knew whether she liked it or not, she was going to be tagging along. 2 girls who were walking between Gwinn and the sisters crossed the street in obvious search of refuge from the menacing thugs. Yo, G, tap that bitch pockets right there. Gwinn initially pretended not to understand, then feigned stupid as the girls walked out of reach. Aisha jogged across the street, and a few sisters followed. Gwinn could see Aisha grab the charm on the girl chain from the taller girl. The girl pushed Aisha's hand away, and Aisha struck her. The shorter girl grabbed Aisha's hair and dragged her to the concrete. Several sisters bombarded them with punches, yet quite a few moments went by before Aisha was out of her grip. Box cutter Keisha grabbed an empty bottle out of the trash can on the corner and busted across the shorter girl's head. Yet she still continued fighting off the mob. Gwinn knew she was in enough trouble with the older sisters as is, that pretending to be deaf shit wasn't going to rock with Aisha. First and second rounders like to give blows after rumbles anyway. Gwinn knew the harder she went in right now, the easier it would be on her in the blows cut later. She threw her jacket to the ground and grabbed the taller girl around her waist and wrestled her to the ground, where she held her arms locked. Listen to me. Just stay the fuck still, Gwinn whispered into her victim's ear as she kept her pressed, defenseless, against her body. It took 4 sisters, but they eventually beat the shorter girl down, bleeding and swelling in the face. From her position on the ground, Gwinn could see Aisha tussle her jaw and remove the razor blade from her mouth. She took the gem star with a wave of her hand and swiftly carved the side of her unfortunate girl's face, spilling her blood. And you, bitch, Aisha addressed the girl that Gwinn was holding on the ground. I'm gonna call my name in your fucking face. 7:12 p.m., the same night. I told you this bitch ain't no beast. She ain't Jessica. That bitch Sarah Lee or some shit. Go bake some pies, bitch. Aisha mocked. The first round of sisters took a pause from smoking and drinking to laugh at Gwinn, who was sitting off in the side with the younger sisters. Gwen's dismay became evident on her face, which was growing sharp with anger. Gonna act like she ain't his. She a fake bitch. Well, then pop off then, Gwinn said with the gull of an eagle. They were gonna beat her down anyway after they finished smoking. She figured she may as well have an excuse to dish out some blows back. Aisha always seemed to have some special interest in making Gwen's life difficult. She was a second rounder and as tough as sisters they had. She couldn't have thrown her hands up any sooner after Gwen's challenge. Gwinn hardened her fists and strengthened her legs. She knew she was in for quite the dance. She tossed her hands around with energy as Aisha moved in. She figured she'd fight a smart fight since she knew Aisha wouldn't respect her strength and try to rush her. Through her reasoning, Gwinn was caught with the right cross to the side of her face, setting off the fight. Yeah, what's up? Aisha asked with confidence written all over her devious smile. Gwinn stumbled back and caught her footing soon enough to dissuade the rush. Aisha tried to throw Gwinn off with a fake punch and a release from the opposite side. It was a risk, but Gwinn gambled on Aisha making such a move. She shifted too heavy, and there was no cruel intent in her face when she made a move. Gwinn weaved out of the way as Aisha threw a hard jab, harming nothing but the air. She planted firmly and swung a vicious elbow to Aisha's nose. One could feel the air deflate out of the sisters gathered around as Aisha's flimsy body dropped, defeated. The fire that fueled Gwyn was ousted as she took a look at one of the real sisters from the set on the first floor Avenue concrete, done for. She knew this was a long way from over, but by the way Aisha was stretched out and bleeding from her nose, Gwen knew she had tucked her in at least for tonight. I'm leaving, yo. I don't need this shit. During her train ride to the Bronx, Gwen made a decision not to go anywhere this weekend. It was beginning to drizzle, and Old Man Winter was beginning to show his face across the tri-state area. Gwen thought her fight and general disposition would be written all over her face when she walked in, but her sister was too occupied to notice. You seen my big door knocker earrings? Hollis asked, barely acknowledging Gwen when she walked in to their tight apartment. She was wandering about frustrated. No, I haven't seen them, she said as she sat down and tried to stay out of Hollis's way. Damn, I'm supposed to be going out with Reggie tonight and I can't find the earrings I want to wear. She continued to toss things around and manifest aggravation. I guess they just grew legs and walked away. Gwen's chest sunk in. She willed herself not to respond for a moment, as she wanted badly to avoid being confrontational, but her nerve pushed her. What you trying to say? I'm stealing for you or something? I don't know, Gwen. A few things have been missing from around the house. I don't know. Hollis grabbed her keys and started for the front door. And I see you've been watching those videos of your little gang on the internet. I don't think your mother will like that, she added before departing. Gwen sat in the same spot for nearly an hour and tried to figure out what Hollis coming at her sideways was about. When the tension of her day finally peaked, Gwen went into the bathroom and closed the door. God, what'd I do to have you mess with me like this? Warm tears ran down her teenage face, unrelenting. She tried to pick herself up, but she wasn't done letting it out. The thud of the slam of the front door made its way to the bathroom. Gwen wiped her face and ran water from the sink to drown out the sound of her getting herself together. Get there early. That way you ain't got to be rushing and all that. Gwen pressed her ear to the door and was somewhat relieved when she heard her father and not Hollis. All right, bro. I'ma holler at you later, though. I'm beat, man. She ran 2 hands full of cold water on the face and checked herself in the mirror before walking out. What happened, baby? Jason noticed something wasn't right with her immediately. It was as if his words had hit a nerve. Gwen's tears began to flow yet again. What happened? He asked. Nothing, she said as she covered her face. Jason sat back and gave his daughter some time, keeping his head down and his mouth shut for several moments until, you know how I started rapping? Gwen looked up from her seat on the edge of the bed to her father, who was hunched over in his chair at the desk. I was writing you a suicide note. Gwen squinted her face in confusion. Jason sat back in a leather-bound chair and spun away from her as he commenced a long overdue talk. It was important for me to explain to you how I got to where I was in order to try to prevent you from ending up there. At the very least, you know? While I was writing, I don't know, man. It was like God took control. He took my past and helped me understand it. He enlightened me along the way. He explained mysteries to me, and he took care of me, you know? Gwen sat staring straight ahead in a mellow trance. She could hear her father turn to see if she was paying him attention. I'm listening, she announced tenderly. 10:56 p.m. the same night. You got to know how that shit sounded to us when we first heard it. We couldn't talk. I could not speak. Gwen laughed and took a sip from a can of soda. He was that good? She asked. Rakim was the truth, yo. Nobody could go with him. It was the R, and then it was everybody else. You think he was the greatest rapper of all time? I don't know. I always favored Pac there personally. But I think if you look at an artist's body of work, you probably got to go with Jigga Man. Nah, 50. 50 Cent? Jason asked as he gave her a parental glance. Well, you a real chick. And I guess real recognize real. You're entitled to your opinion. I'm just glad you ain't say Vanilla Ice or some shit. Who? Don't worry about it. 11:48 p.m. the same night. That almost drove me to murder. Yeah, I want to kill her ass. Gonna change your last name. I fucks with Bernadette though, but ain't no getting around that. I mean, if you was gonna kill a motherfucker, you was gonna kill a motherfucker. I cut your umbilical cord though. Ain't no getting around that shit either. You think all these so-called deadbeat dads running around out here don't care about their kids? I don't think so. Jason blew out a cloud of smoke out the kitchen window, then ashed his blunt on the windowsill before carrying on. And trust me, I put some time into thinking about it. These niggas got some beef with their baby mama that they can't get over, or they on some all or nothing shit with their kids, because they see in between as weak, and they're not strong enough to be weak until they get strong. Gwinn thought about it, then decided to figure it out later. So what are you? She probed. Shit. All praise due to Allah. Now I'm strong. Jason smiled and tried to hide his teeth with his big lips. I'm 34 years young. I got my own record company. I got my own home. Allah has set me up with free time when I want it. I ain't nobody's slave. I got knowledge of myself. How you want it? He took an arrogant pull from his Dutch, all the while looking Gwyn straight in the eye. What you want to do? He asked. 1:59 a.m. the same night. You're a part of a brotherhood of human beings that gets better with time. God created you and bestowed upon you from his grace, his liking and his image. You ain't evolved from no fucking ape. If that was the case, you see apes transforming into people every day. Caterpillars ain't stopped turning into butterflies. He removed his Immortal Technique disc from the stereo and loaded the Styles P Gangsta and Gentleman album from Hollis's God Library. Jay-Z's Kingdom Come was apparently on deck. You don't have to go out and kill your food because your brothers and sisters before you built upon the body of knowledge and eventually set up systems of agriculture that would allow motherfuckers to get fat without doing work. And you could do shit like rap and be cool for a living. He smiled at her and continued. One should ask themselves, however, where would we be as human beings if everyone did exactly as they did? Contribute like you contribute, or not? Gwyn shook her head as she contemplated. Jason got up and walked over to the window. The sky seemed to be a shade of white. It began snowing. So you trying to live among the righteous? He asked. Hollis's key rattled the front door, warranting the attention of Gwen and her father. She strutted in, chatting on her cell phone in skin-tight denim jeans, gaudy jewelry, and her face makeup. She lowered her phone when she saw her father and sister sitting in peace. She looked around mildly perplexed. What's up? November 1st, 2008. Gwen could see her set sister coming up the walkway, apparently rapping to herself and staring down random objects with sharp, beady eyes, when she noticed Gwen standing in the lobby and scampered over. When Candace got close enough, Gwen put her hand out for a customary set dap and was pulled in for a hug instead. She screwed her face and tried to hold her breath. Damn, Candace, when the last time you took a shower? I smell bad? She grabbed her dingy bubble coat and sniffed it. Yo, what's up with you? Gwen asked aggressively as she pushed her out of her personal space. Nothing, chilling. You don't got a couple dollars I could borrow, do you? Gwen just got hit off from Amanda, who was paying her personally now that Gwen and Aisha was at war. She pulled out two $10 bills and gave them to Candace. Thank you. She pulled Gwen again and embraced her before walking off into the projects. I wouldn't have done that if I was you. Box cutter Keisha said from her seat on the egg crate on the other side of the lobby. That girl gonna take that money and smoke herself good and dead. Watch. What you talking about? Crackheads don't know how to budget. That's all they thinking about. Crack, crack, crack. That's all they looking for. Candace not getting high? Gwen said. Keisha chuckled and looked away. Gwen excused herself and stepped out of the front of the building. She watched her friend for over 9 years as she spoke with Kenneth up the block before walking into the back of the building 1690 with him. Trunk thumping music was coming from one of the flashy luxury cars that pulled into the parking lot. All of the windows on both cars were tinted, but Gwinn figured whoever they were, they would be all right with her as they were blasting music from her brother's upcoming album. Through the corner of her eye, Gwinn saw a mob of heads cut around the corner of 111th Street. She turned to make sure that the sisters were still behind her in the lobby. Who them niggas? Box cutter Keisha asked as she pushed the front door open. The passenger side of the door opened on the BMW, and Junior stepped out. Hey, big bro, Gwinn shouted, ever pleased to see her brother. The mob of 15 or so foreigners rounded the black railing outlining the Taft houses and marched down the walkway, obviously on some sort of mission. Junior's people began to emerge from the confines of their automobiles in the parking lot. Sensing drama on the horizon, Onisha, Rosie, Tyrese, and Melcia filed out of the building. Who did it? On the front line of the mob was a stocky, light-skinned boy of 18 years or so. He pulled forth a girl who had a face full of fresh stitches who didn't seem to care to be there. She looked through the girls in blue and turned back at the enraged boy. I don't know, Jolo. All of them are Jessica. Any one of them could have did it. He moved her aside. Yo, one of y'all bitches better tell me who did this to my sister's face. I'm fucking all of y'all up right now. The girls remained silent. Each one of them was there when it went down. Gwen remembered vividly pinning the girl to the ground like it was yesterday. She tried not to look her in the eyes. Yo, homie, what's the problem? Junior asked as he shut the car door and made his way over. What the fuck you mean, what's the problem? Nigga, you see this big ass scar on my sister's face? He grew more excited by the moment. Unable to control his nerves, Jolo began taking steps in any direction, pounding his hands as he spoke his next words. Somebody gotta pay for that shit. It's that simple. Junior's entourage, Shock, Big Verdict, and Red Out, approached to the Jessica sisters' relief. So what? What you gonna come over here and beat up a couple girls now? Red Out asked in his rough, deep voice. Well, God is my witness. Somebody gotta pay for this shit. These bitches jumped my sister and her friend for no fucking reason. My sister don't bother nobody. His voice began to give way to emotion. He put his hands up to his face, and with a swift shift of intent, he quickly reached into his flight jacket. Whoa, chill out, motherfucker. Don't move, nigga. Red Out and Big Verda drew their handguns and froze, the revenge-struck brother in his place. Both parties of onlookers stepped back. Red Out approached with his pistol in Jolo's face. He reached in his jacket and removed a pocket knife stashed therein. Oh, this nigga came on some shit, didn't he? Thanksgiving Day, 2008. Can you say auntie, huh? I know you could say Auntie Gwinn. Baby Terrell began to grow with a smile that never failed to brighten Gwen's day. Gwen caught a strong whiff of the macaroni and cheese from downstairs and was reminded of how hungry she was. She stood to her feet and noticed the headlights of a car pulling into the driveway through the nursery room window. She lifted Terrell from the bed and carried him down the stairs. Hollis and Denise were sitting in the living room watching the football game with George, Red Out, Pastor Daniels, Uncle Terry, and his wife Susan, as well as Grandpa Sessoms. Oh, let me see my little man. Hollis stood and fixed a long suede skirt before taking Terrell from Gwen. I ain't know you was up, little man. Gwen handed Hollis his pacifier and walked out of the front door. Guess who's coming to dinner? Naughty Dreadlock. Jason slammed his car door, and LaRonda did the same. He continued singing aloud, walking through the small garden on the side of the house. His head was wrapped in a black turban with the extensions of his hair sneaking through, a camouflage jacket covering his upper body. Guess who's coming to dinner? Hi, Daddy, Gwen greeted. LaRonda fell back to allow Jason to get in front of her. He smelled of that old familiar scent of Egyptian musk and marijuana. He walked straight up to Gwen and kissed her on the forehead. Peace. Let's go eat. Bernadette didn't seem much interested in speaking to Denise and her husband. Denise's husband, George, didn't seem much interested in speaking with Denise. Gwinn couldn't figure out if it was because the football game was that interesting or if there was trouble in paradise. Junior and Jason didn't have too much words for one another, but then again, Jason barely had anything to say to anyone other than Hollis, Gwyn, and LaRonda. That was before LaRonda went to the bathroom, leaving Aunt Nyla and Jason alone in the living room. Are you still rapping, Jason? Nyla asked as she placed a bowl of collard greens at one end of the luxuriously extensive table. Yeah, I'm still rapping. But you still don't have a record deal, huh? Jason stopped flipping through Lucretia's Victoria's Secret catalog and finally looked at her. I don't need one. Not getting $50,000 winning battles and selling on the streets. That little 50,000 wasn't nothing, my man. Junior yelled from the kitchen as he overheard their conversation a few feet away. Well, put up another 50 then. I sure would appreciate it, Jason said, looking at Gwen as she came back into the dining room, but talking and laughing at his son. All right, everyone, y'all come eat. The food is ready. Miss Johnson, Lucretia's mother, called for the fellas in the living room watching the game. Miss Johnson took a final sip of a Heineken before grabbing Lucretia and Aunt Nyla's hand. Pastor, you want to say grace? How about I say grace, huh? All right, thanks, the dread insisted, mildly aggressive. Why don't I get this one, Jason? The pastor attempted, for what he assumed was the welfare of the people. Gwen could see the muscles in her father's forearm tense as he gripped Pastor Daniel's hand. No, not today. These are my children here, and I'm sure I know God at least as much as you do. Gwen joined hands with her mother and brother. She didn't bother closing her eyes, as she was used to getting paid for keeping them open. She witnessed Mr. Johnson, LaRonda, Redout, and the children quick to bow their heads. Her mother, Hollis, and the pastor exchanged strange looks before lowering their own heads. Father, thank you for gathering us here today. Thank you for your infinite blessings and mercies. Thank you, Father, for creating us in your beautiful image. Thank you for keeping true to your promises. And thank you for guiding us on your way that is straight. And before we indulge, Father, we want to kindly ask you to allow your kingdom to come, Father, on earth as it is in heaven. Bestow health, wealth, independence, and peace upon your devoted servants. And Father, go ahead and send down calamities and your wrath and punishment among the consistent rejectors of faith. Separate those of us who have worked deeds in your name, those of us who have given to the poor, who practice equality with our brothers and sisters, those of us who spoke fair to the people and uplifted. We ask you to judge between us, Father, that we may have clear proofs between right and wrong. Gwen looked up and saw her father getting deeper in his prayers. We ask for your speedy punishment for those of us who have not strived and preserved in your ways. We forfeit the respite from hell, Father, and we ask you to take us here and now, Father. All right, Jason, Pastor Daniel said. Hey, yo, I'm praying. What the hell is wrong with you? Jason checked him firmly. Can we eat, please? Denise asked as she released her hand from Grandpa Sessoms and Hollis. Aunt Nyla took a seat, and half of the people in attendance followed. Lucretia ordered most of the dinner from an upscale catering service. Therefore, Gwen was especially happy when she looked on a smaller kitchen table and saw Grandpa made his signature sweet potato with the toasted marshmallows. Lucretia began serving the guests. She started with LaRonda, reaching a large spoon of ham hocks on her plate. I don't eat that, she declined. Excuse me, young lady? Grandpa Sessoms probed. Oh, I'm sorry, I don't eat pork, LaRonda said apologetically. Mm-mm. You know, I never understood that. They've been raised on pork their whole life. Their brothers and sisters ate pork. Now all of a sudden they can't eat pork. It's bad for you. Where's the proof? Proof? Jason demanded with a heightened level of seriousness in his eyes. What she need to present proof to you for? You're the one on the offensive. Just like in a court of law, the burden of proof is on the plaintiff. Don't make me get out my Quran, out my car, and bring all the proof. Grandpa Sessoms laughed and looked away. Tekk carried on. This woman sitting up here in peace, trying to hold on to her values and disciplines, and you fucking with us. Us. No, well, that's my wife. Each individual present seemed to have their breath escape them. All eyes looked on LaRonda, who was wearing a D&G hoodie and blue jeans, more casually dressed than any other woman in attendance. I don't know. This just seems like an epidemic. All these young black thugs are supposedly Muslims now. I see it all the time in my neighborhood, Aunt Nala said as she loaded a plate with ham hocks. An epidemic? Leave it alone, LaRonda encouraged Jason. He tried to leave it alone for a brief moment, smiling and locking eyes with Nala. An epidemic, he asked. Yes, that's what I said. What's an epidemic is your damn life. What did you gain, like 50 pounds in the last 3 years? You sit up in that big for nothing ass apartment with that ugly ass cat, no man, no friends outside the family. You completely suck, Jason said with a mixed look of disgust and arrogance across his face. Talking about my brothers and sisters out there struggling in the name of Allah is an epidemic. We have guidance in life. Guidance that your ass obviously need. Tekk, chill. Jason turned and looked at Redout, who was giving him a look as if he understood, but was also offering him a calm hand as if to say this wasn't the time. Chill, bro. You are a very disrespectful person. You know that, Jason? Fuck you. We came here in peace. You started fucking with us. And the question is why? Why did you feel the need to start fucking with us? Because you fucking, yo, you gonna have to stop cursing at my aunt. You stepping way out of line now. Junior decided it was time for him to assume his man of the house position. What the fuck ever, Tekk expressed as disrespectfully as possible while helping himself to a serving of yams. Junior stood up as Jason sat down. Take a look around you, homeboy. You in my house. I don't want to have to kick you out, but that'll probably be doing you a favor with your disappearing ass. Gwinn was about to get in some shit in the hood the other day. Where was you at? Who the hell knows? Me and my niggas had to handle that. Oh, you mean with Jolo? You know Jolo just beat a murder, right? Nigga, fresh out. And he wants your head on the stick for that shit y'all pulled out there. You better tell your fake ass gangster friends the next time they pull a gun on somebody, they better use the motherfucker. And you need to keep your ass out the hood for a minute. Junior rammed his fist into his expensive china. Tell him bring it. Anybody could bring it. You, Jolo, Danger Manger, whoever. We ready for war. Jason wiped the side of his mouth gently with his napkin, now simply toying around. Boy, sit your ass down. You ain't ready for no war. You ready for war like I thought I was ready for war when they killed my man Stacky. You don't know nothing about logistics, tactics, strategy. You got a record deal, not knowledge of yourself, wisdom, or power. Before you got signed, you was on the road with me in search of Allah's bounty. Now you got signed, some money, and you supposed to be a tough guy or boss? The fuck out of here, boy. There's people out there that really hit the block and got it in for theirs. All that shit you claim to do in them little fancy songs of yours. He chuckled to himself. Pop goes my nine. Fuck out of here. You never poke nothing, never pop nothing, niggas stop fronting. Jason glanced over at Gwinn to see if she noticed that he quoted her favorite rapper. Junior looked at Redout, seemingly for instructions, which Jason took special offense to. Get out of my house, Junior insisted. November 30th, 2008. Gwinn heard the apartment door open and the fear set in her stomach that she prayed God would remove from her life. She started coughing as she had instantly created her excuse for Hollis as to why she wasn't in school. She diluted the strength in her eyes and held her stomach as a part of her act. Why you not in school? Jason asked as he stepped into sight to her relief. I ain't want to go today, Gwinn answered, not looking to deceive her father, as she had grown in confidence that he was beginning to understand her. Jason looked at her hard and critically, but didn't say a word. He stuck the duffel bag he was toting in the space between Hollis's desk and the wall. Daddy, what do you do all day? Jason smiled and took a seat, as if too exhausted to respond. I want to roll with you, Gwinn said. You want to roll with me? Tekk mocked. Whatever. You know I never hear the end of your mom's mouth if she found out you cut school was fucking with me all day. He visibly reconsidered the notion, as if the idea didn't sound so bad. He stared off into space for a brief moment. Come on, he said. They caught the 4 train to the 6 and took that to 96th Street. They walked down Lexington Avenue. Jason kept her close, either to help her keep warm or for protection. Either way, it made her feel special. It was cold outside. Gwinn had her face tucked beneath the fabric of her ski jacket. They stopped at Papayas on 86th Street before Jason took her to buy a few outfits. They caught a matinee and they ate again. I want to show you something, Jason said, looking at his daughter, seated on a stool beside him. What's that? You finished? He asked, looking down at her chicken basket. Yeah, let's go. They walked up 3rd Avenue towards Spanish Harlem. When they got to 96th Street, Gwen could see her father look sharply up at the elaborate dome on the mosque across the street while they were waiting for the light to change. They crossed the intersection, and he grabbed her hand and steered her towards the path of the front gate. Where we going? Unit 4, the final chapter. You know this nigga? Big Easy. Date, December 9th, 2008. The average Joe wouldn't understand Gwen's attraction to Harlem, the magnetism between her and the streets, between her and her sisters and the projects. Gwen found her solace on the concrete terraces under the cover of obscurity, watching the nature of things. She was no longer profiting from looking out for the cops. Most of the older True Blues had recently abandoned the angel dust trade to help out their founding members make some more legal money. Gwen didn't make it to Taft as much as she used to when she first moved out. Her mother was gone, as well as her brother, and Candace moved to the Bronx last year. Gwen's life went on. The word went forth. She moved on past Justin, past a 20-block radius of life, past a perpetual state of hate that she used to stay in order to be on point. Gwinn made the honor roll during the first marking period at Brooklyn Tekk, engaged in battles with her father on the chessboard, and she began jogging around the South Bronx with Hollis. A new day. After school, she hung out with her new friends from Bed-Stuy at the Junction train station in Brooklyn, where the in crowd got together. That was before making her way to the 6th train and heading home. Gwen stole Fridays for herself. Hollis worked a late shift on Fridays, giving Gwen liberty to do as she pleased until a little after 11 p.m. This particular Friday rendered her homesick as she returned to Taft to check on the hood. She sat on the 15th floor terrace, just looking, just watching. Kenneth and Trevor were still in front of 1694, pumping whatever they were selling this week. Fiends were still wandering to and fro, void of direction. The children were still trying to camouflage their poverty with fashion and words. Gwen crossed her legs and kept watching. Still Harlem. 8:42 a.m. the next day. Gwen could smell the wind in the air as she awoke. She rolled over in the bed and saw Hollis scrambling to get her things together. Good morning, she greeted in an especially good mood. Hey, sweetie, Hollis spoke without taking a line of sight from the television. She was dressed in her black and gray pants and a black cardigan, her work clothes. How are you today? Late. You got to be to work on a Saturday? Gwen asked. Yup, we supposed to be getting the bulk of our customers this Saturday. We? Gwen asked as she sat up on her backside and removed a silk head wrap. Yes, we, my company. Well, the company I work for. That seems like a jip. Gwen, please. Hollis waved the younger sister off and leaned in to kiss her on the cheek. So you're not coming to Daddy's house today? No, I don't have the time, but I'm sure you guys will have lots of fun together, she said before leaving out. Gwen wasn't certain what her sister's problem was, but she didn't let that bring her down. She got up and pulled out a pair of black jeans from her side of the closet, along with her Yves Saint Laurent sweater. She took a quick shower and got ready for her father, who would be picking her up soon. She packed a book bag with a world history textbook, laptop, and 5-subject notebook and went to sit by the window. Gwen could see a group of children throwing snowballs at each other and playing freely. A Dominican brother in a tan worker jacket changing a tire on a car across the street. A young couple walking up the block in one another's arms. She felt forced to look away from the happy couple into the kitchen, then down at the floor. There was no place of comfort for her eyes. Gwen's ex-boyfriend Justin was on her mind, and she couldn't deny it. She pulled out her cell phone and scrolled through her phone book until she got his number. Yo, G! Gwinn scooted up in her seat and looked out of the window to see her father looking up from the sidewalk. I'm coming down, she yelled. 12:40 p.m. the same day. Gwinn did a lot of sleeping and staring out of the window on the drive up the 99 interstate. Her inner sanctum, she reconsidered her dedication to New York City. Traveling along the expansive highway, she got a better feel for how spacious God's green earth really was. Large farms, open roads. She wondered if perhaps the happiness she was in search of was somewhere out there. LaRonda and Jason were engaged in a friendly political conversation in the front seat. The smooth jazz station was flowing. Gwinn figured she'd let them know she was awake from her second nap by jumping in the discussion. Daddy, did you vote for Obama? Jason turned in his seat and smiled at her. He reached back and wiped her face. She pulled back instinctively. Come here, you got something on your face. He licked his thumb and began smearing whatever she had on her cheek. Gwinn tried to sit still, yet the force in his hands pushed her about. When she relaxed, she felt a degree of love from her father's hands that she hadn't felt in years. I gave Barack some support, Jason answered when he was good and ready. LaRonda looked at him and smiled, finding amusement in an obviously personal joke. But you didn't vote? Gwinn asked. She could see LaRonda peep at her through the rearview mirror. That girl don't play, she said as she glanced at Jason. Unfortunately, ex-cons can't vote in this country, baby. Our voices don't count after we mess up. Fortunately, however, he looked at LaRonda, I sold over 500,000 records that contained the track in which I encourage brothers and sisters to go out and vote for what it's worth. I even gave President Obama some encouraging words if he listens to voices from the gutter. Well, I voted for the both of us, baby, and we won, LaRonda said as she caressed Jason's scalp through his hair, partially minding the road. 3:26 p.m. the same day. Gwinn could see her father and LaRonda smoking and conversing on the other side of the large bay windows on the east wing of the home. Although it was freezing outside, the sun was shining in its full majesty over the snow-covered hills afar. Gwinn looked around the living room, trying to make sense out of her father's humble yet complex abode. Stacked alongside the marble-topped island in the kitchen was bag after bag of seeds, large, clear, and labeled across the front. There was rosemary seeds, cucumber, watermelon, strawberry, barley, and carrots. Sitting atop some sort of unique gardening container were uniquely packaged bags that read Northern Lights and Purple Haze across the front. A large photo posted on the back wall caught Gwen's eye. She walked across the ground level until the entrance of the basement staircase with large vivid photos lined both walls. She was staring at a life-size portrait of her dad's debut album. Younger Jason Jordan, leaning over the side of a balcony, turned away from the camera. Next to that was a portrait of Architekk's second album cover. She turned around, and a black and white image of Hollis in a high school track uniform with her hands planted on her hips staring at the track beneath her. Adjacent to that was a portrait of Junior shaking hands with Mayor Giuliani after receiving an academic achievement award. Gwinn took a few steps, mindful of the drop in the stairs in front of her, and took in the last picture on that side of the wall. An image of her father holding her between his arms in a hospital on the day she was born. Several moments had gone by, yet Gwinn couldn't take her eyes off the picture. She was so little, so pale, wrapped in a soft white and yellow blanket. She wondered what her dad was thinking as he looked into her face so deeply. She was still lost in the rapture of her visual history when she heard the screen door shut and Jason's strong voice speaking. She made her way over. Ah, look at my little girl. His eyes were like red clouds of fire and joy as he reached out for Gwinn, especially happy to see her. You know how much I love you? Yes, she smiled mildly embarrassed. You don't have a clue, child. Not a clue. He said as he squeezed around her shoulders. Come here. So I'm going to be back around 6 or so, okay, baby? LaRonda said as she removed the keys from her red leather purse. Yeah, yeah, Jason said as he walked off with Gwinn. I heard Sheik Luke say one time on one of his album skits, he said to one of his boys, it's easy to go out there and bust your gun and do this or that wild shit. He asked him, though, what would you give up for me, though? What would you go without for me? Jason's heavy construction boots slammed into the carpet with a melody as he began to scale the spiral staircase in the living room. For you, I went without a home, without stability, without, well, you get the point. He got to the top of the stairs and huffed in exhaustion. You don't know how useless I felt as a man when your brother and sisters were born. 2 kids in 2 years? 2 different women? He caught his breath and continued as they walked through the second floor corridor. When you were born, that was the start of my path, my trek of 1,000 miles towards making myself the father that I wanted to be. I had to say the hell with what your moms thought, the hell with what the people thought. I even had to say the hell with what you thought. But I kept you ever present in my heart, and I continuously asked the Lord to give me a fair shot one day, to give me my own home where my kids could come and grow to their utmost potential. He stopped and stuck both his hands in his pockets of his baggy army pants as the first of another ensemble of huge pictures caught his attention. He was staring proudly at an image of a younger, skinnier version of him in the lobby of his own building in Grant. Come here, let me show you something, he said as he moved on. A pastor in Norfolk said to me one time, he said, God will perfect that which concerns you. Jason pushed open the last bedroom door and stepped aside, allowing his little lady to enter first. The first thing that Gwinn noticed was the posters and pictures of her favorite artist sprawled across the walls. There was a large bed with an elaborate white canopy between the windows with white ledges and white nightstands. A picture of Gwinn in her 3rd grade dance class hung from the far wall. She walked to the center of the room under the ceiling fan, which was twirling lightly, and held her hands out speechless. So now, I do believe it's our time. I'm here right now, and I'm telling you, I want you in my life every day, every step of the way. And I love you greater than that which I understand love to be, greater than that which your mother, your brother, the whole world thinks love should be. And I always love you. Gwen hurried over to him and wrapped her arms around his waist. He caressed the top of her head and leaned in to look into her face. But you're going to have to figure out if you can handle the pain and the rain that comes along with being with Dad. His face grew serious. Because it's going to rain when you fucking with me. The rain is essential for the seed to grow. We observe all seasons that the Lord made, and we seek to achieve higher degrees of knowledge year round. Now, you may not know exactly what I mean, but at the end of this, what I'm saying is we don't play it safe. Allah is our only protector. If He decrees a course for you, there's nothing I can do except guide you and help strengthen you along that course. God may ordain you to be a doctor, a judge, a dentist, or our Father may have intended for you to be a bus driver, a telemarketer, or a drifter. But only He has the secrets and the keys to your happiness, fulfilling your heart's and the desire, only through Him. Don't doubt that. It's the maturation of your doubt that will crumble the empire which your Lord has constructed for your advancement. Faith. You have to have faith. I am telling you, God is real. He is the creator of the heavens and the earth. He is the giver of peace. I'm telling you this as clearly as I can, so don't doubt. The deception of this world has found a home to you, but Allah loves the man and the woman that fights against their own sinful soul. So fight your doubt and know that you were created weak in the flesh, but you can fight against that weakness. Please observe these rules and these laws, baby, or else I never get to show you how much I truly care for you and love you on the other side. Jason stood up and left Gwyn in her room by her lonesome, where she pondered extensively on his words. She went through many questions in her head, but all things considered, she felt good, positive. She was relaxed. She stared out of her window, taken aback by what she was looking at. She wondered what in God's name her dad was doing with a herd of horses. 6 days later. So what do you guys think would be a good research paper for you to do over the winter break? Let us do a paper on this year's So You Think You Could Dance. That's my favorite show. That's my favorite show. Another student mimic in the back of the class. Shut up, Jomar. That's why your breath smelled like 1,000 acids. Gwinn slammed the pen on the desk, frustrated at her classmates who were joking her education time away. She turned a heated face from the back of the classroom to Mr. Bowery sternly. We should do a follow-up on the Barack Obama paper we did a few months ago. Mr. Bowery acknowledged Gwinn with a certain level of awareness and respect, as Gwinn didn't seem like she was too much in a playing mood. She continued, we can demonstrate how America stood up for a change and how that change is manifest with a black man as a president-elect of a country where he would have been a slave less than 200 years ago. You mean manifested? No, I mean manifest. It's life. It is. It's not words. It's bigger than the words. So I'm speaking to the unfolding of life, the current situation, the actualities. Gwinn noticed Mr. Bowery turned away confused, and therefore she astutely got back to the point. We could also present arguments on what Americans need to do in their own private lives to make the world abroad a better, more equitable place, since they were at the forefront of destroying it. A stark silence fell upon room 202. Gwinn glanced over her shoulder and witnessed nearly every eyeball painted on her, including Jamal, whose attention she'd been trying to get for over a month. Gwinn no longer needed the attention of trumped up hood drama, ridiculously overpriced clothing, or boys. She felt extra comfortable in her natural hair, her brown skin, and her old Navy sweats. For Gwinn Ellis Systems had come to struggle in the ways of God, and she felt particularly strong in them. Okay. All right, you guys just do a paper on that then. 5:52 p.m. the same day. When Gwinn stepped up the 2 train, she had a strange feeling in her heart. It was as if her eyes weren't as sharp as they used to be. East Harlem was moving too fast for her to grasp. She felt weird, and it certainly didn't help when she got to 112th Street and saw her father yelling at Candace in front of her old building. It's not meant for you to be out here in constant want, a perpetual state of scheming, plotting in the name of simulation. You need proper nourishment, sister, not high after high. You need a clear line of sight to allow the Lord's light to shine on you. Jason followed Candace in circles, unrelenting in his effort. Gwinn walked up and stood beside LaRonda, who was watching with sharp intensity as Jason stayed on Candace. What, you don't want to hear the truth? You don't want to hear the truth? What you think these people see when they look at you? The truth is all around whether you want to admit it or not. You fucked up. You ain't used to be like this. You can't deny that. Through her peripheral vision, Gwinn could see Hollis and Reggie walking down Madison Avenue. They were involved in a conversation, oblivious to their surroundings. Gwinn dug her hands into a blue bubble coat and watched them stroll past the midway point of the block when she caught a glance of detectives sitting in the parking lot in a green Mercedes, paying particular attention to Jason's evangelistic efforts. You should be uppermost. Allah ain't make no mistakes when he created you. Your saving grace is right here, right now. Shake that shit. You following the path of the devil's deception, a path of anti-reality, a path of nothingness. There's nothing there. That's why you're never happy. There's nothing there. Candace grew weary. Her legs became visibly weakened, and she fell to the floor. Oh, shit, Jessica's sister professed. Sis, you all right? No, leave her there, Jason said to box cutter Keisha, who gave the diesel dread none of her usual bullshit. He had a heightened level of strength exceeding him as he turned back to Candace. God got a path for you, and it doesn't consist of you hanging around these projects getting high all your fucking life. It's a new day. People are standing up and fighting the people who put the crack in their neighborhoods. They're the same motherfuckers responsible for your poverty, your lack of understanding of yourself. Join the fight at least. Stop being a weak-ass bitch. He yelled at Capacity, then walked away with his people. I'm ready, Candace shouted from the seat of her pants. Gwinn, along with the bystanders around, were taken aback, stunned. Only in Harlem, Gwinn thought to herself. Only in Harlem. Jason turned around. He took a deliberate glance to the sky before he reached out to Candace. Come on then, let's get you back on your feet. Gwinn could feel her feet planted firmly to the earth as she tried to register what was going on around her. It was as if God was lurking, as if he were right there, right now. The feeling was immense. Gwinn was certain that there was a surplus of energy around her, but she couldn't see or identify its source. Mass, vivid, clear energy. There was a sense of heightened familiarity here. There was tremendous freedom in it. Gwinn squeezed her eyelids shut, then she opened them as she noticed the power in the surrounding buildings and the streetlights were out. She could hear residents complaining and questioning one another. Gwinn returned to the world. It was only then that she realized that her mind had transcended the physical around her. She was depleted of any want, feeling, or desire to move and speak. An unprecedented state of peace. But she knew she couldn't stay here. She was alone in the middle of the projects, not scheming on getting money, not looking out, watching her back, trying to get ahead or running her mouth. She knew Harlem wouldn't let her get away with that, but she couldn't move, not until the force of energy was completely gone. A few moments later, God left. When Gwinn realized that he'd come, she wished to herself that he'd never do that again. She was nauseated and at a loss of understanding, still stuck. She watched her father and his congregation round a corner towards MSG. For some odd reason, she turned around. When she did, she saw a swarm of men coming around the corner. She identified them quickly, then turned back to check on her father, who was now out of her line of sight, around the other side of the building. She turned swiftly and darted in the front of 1694. Gwinn raced up the staircase. Her heart raced faster, propelled by fright. She ran to the 8th floor and banged on apartment 8Q. She could hear Samantha taking the chains off the door on the other side. What's up, girl? What's up, Sam? I need to stay here for a few minutes if you don't mind. You better get in here. What you mean if I don't mind? Samantha stepped aside. Our electricity's still out from earlier, but we'll be all right. Gwinn felt safe, and therefore she switched her entire demeanor the instant her backside hit Miss Marie's couch. You ducking blows from your sisters? Nah, that boy Jolo and his crazy-ass crew, Gwinn said. Jolo? What he want? I held his sister down the other day when my homegirl sliced her face. Ew. Samantha squinted her face tightly at the thought. Well, you good over here, girl. I'm gonna be back there with the baby. Help yourself to anything you want. Gwinn watched Joel and his crew prowl the projects for nearly 10 minutes from one of the dining room windows. The electricity in the building was still unstable as the lights were flickering on and off a few times, and Gwinn could hear the emergency alarm scream from the elevator as if someone was stuck. Gwinn began gathering the things that she left at Samantha's when she moved out of the building. She sat at the kitchen table and scrolled through her bag of pictures, flicks from junior high school, Dorney Park, block parties, 125th Street. There were pictures of her showing off her cute outfits, drinking with sisters, snowball fights with Junior. Gwinn looked at every picture she had and felt a sense of satisfaction as she had already had enough memories to last 2 lifetimes. After she got her things ready, she checked back out the window and saw the detectives were still parked in the front. The car's headlights switched on just as she began to look away, and the Benz slowly rolled out of the parking space. That's when her phone rang. Hi, Daddy, she answered as her father's name appeared on her caller ID. Where you at? At my friend Samantha's in 1694. You still out here? Come to MSG. Go through the back. I'll see you when you get here, Jason said before hanging up the phone. You calling him Daddy now? Samantha appeared from behind her in the kitchen wall and opened the refrigerator. Things must have really gotten better between you guys. Yeah, something like that, Gwinn said as she put the phone back on the table. You gonna be here? I plan on taking my stuff now, but my pops asked me if I could meet him at MSG for some reason. Yeah, I'll be here. Gwinn walked downstairs and out the back of the building. She could see no lights through Margot's storefront, and the gate was shut. She walked around to the back, where there were 2 young ladies posted at either side of the rear door. As she approached, one of the girls stepped towards her with her arm extended. Whoa, no, that's Architekk's daughter, the other girl said. She looked Gwinn over, then stepped aside and allowed her to write a passage. Our brains, our mental capacity, has exalted us above the hunt and kill for our food. We have established homes and places of businesses, institutions. Man can live in peace and harmony, so long as that man has knowledge of himself and can embrace the harmony with his brothers and sisters and the infinite. Jason cracked a warm smile and turned towards LaRonda, who was seated to his right. The infinite. Harmony with the infinite, he re-emphasized to his own amusement. The elements that God used to create the heavens and the earth, those same elements are in you. Carbon, calcium, oxygen, hydrogen. And I say that to demonstrate to you that there's so much more out there for you than death and betrayal and deception and loss and lack of. The ways of God are clean and straightforward, upright. They feel right. We care about community, so long as that community is built in the name of God. We care about family, so long as my brothers in the Lord. The same holds true for political processes, policing, and the general governing of man. It's cool as long as it's all in the name of God. Anything not in the name of God, we fight to the death. Gwen stopped listening for a moment and started looking around. All of the original sisters were there. NYCMC was there, and so were various residents from the neighborhood. Although he didn't speak from the podium and there was no distinguishing setting, it was clear that Jason was in command, wearing a full camouflage suit and an elaborate kufi atop his hair. You particular ladies are the descendants of slaves living in a land that your parents were beaten and terrorized for hundreds of years to build, kidnapped, cut off from your history, their religion, language, the knowledge of themselves. You have historically been oppressed, and it's up to you to decide your course of action and regain your natural liberties. Y'all got to decide if y'all want to come with us around the world and be global citizens, if y'all want to fuck around in the corners your whole life. He shut the book in his hand and looked analytically through the congregation. Okay, so we're all on the same page? We know what we're doing? No one had anything to say, and so he concluded. Okay, peace be with y'all, till we meet the next time. The sisters on the floor stood to their feet. The sisters who were standing along the walls began greeting one another and exchanging small talk. Margot was whispering something in Jason's ear that was causing him to smile. Gwen could tell that her father recognized her by the alteration of the expression on his face as he caught eyes with her from across the room. He left his entourage and walked over to her, greeting her with a kiss on her cheek. You got your things together? Yeah, everything is ready. You all right? Yeah, I'm good. He took her by the hand. Come on. It was a dark, rainy Friday night. The hood was quiet, and the streetlights seemed to illuminate the filth scattered about. They walked around the side of the building to Madison Avenue, where sisters were filing in the cars, and Jason's close friends were waiting on him. Sweetie, I got to speak at one more conference in Grant. It should only take about an hour or so. You want to come? Nah, I think I want to hang out with Samantha until you're done. Just call my phone when you're finished. She patted her pockets and realized that she left her phone upstairs. Jason stared at her straight in the eyes as if looking for something. She turned away as to keep whatever she was hiding a secret. Yo, Dred, we out? Jason backed off from his silent investigation as if he'd unfortunately found what he was looking for in his daughter's wondering eyes. Yeah, we out. 9:33 p.m. the same night. Gwen walked to 110th Street and got a bag of onion and garlic chips and the ginger ale before going back upstairs. She banged on Samantha's door and dug into her chips as she waited. She could hear Samantha speaking to someone on the other side of the door before opening up. Oh, hello, Junior? Junior? She opened the door. That was your brother, she said, handing Gwen her phone. He said he just got out of class. He's on his way to see you. Oh, okay. Gwen grew excited as she hadn't seen her brother in a while. She walked in the kitchen and deposited her empty potato chip bags and can of soda in the trash. What you up to? She asked. I'm about to go drink with Dottie from the third floor. Sal back there with the baby. You trying to roll? 11:38 p.m. the same night. Gwinn, Samantha, and Dottie sat in the living room on fold-out chairs with enough liquor to fuel a small party. Each of them had plastic cups in their hand and sloth written across their faces. Dottie stood up for no particular reason. The block is crazy dead. Ain't nobody outside, she said as she took a double take out the window she just turned away from. There your brother go right there, Lil G. Gwinn took another sip of Hennessy and slammed a cup onto the window ledge. All right, let me go, she said. Samantha dug into her pockets and pulled out her house keys. He meeting you at my crib? Gwinn smeared her hands across her face as she inadvertently took steps in a circle. Oh, I forgot. I texted him and told him we down here. You all right, girl? Dottie looked at Gwinn as if she was about to erupt in her trademark hysterical drunk laughter. You looking a little saucy over there. Dottie went off, laughing so hard that she almost fell out of her chair. Samantha had no choice but to join. Even Gwinn had to laugh as she contemplated to herself, damn, what did I just walk around the room for no reason? Be careful, that's that hem rock. That'll put them lightweights on their ass, Samantha said. Oh shit, y'all heard that? Dottie turned toward the front door. Sound like gunshots. Yeah, I heard it too, Samantha said before standing to her feet. This nigga Jolo been out here for a minute. Gwinn hurried over to look out the window with Samantha to the front of the building where Jolo was rushing from. Gwinn shifted a focal point from Jolo to the Volvo that pulled up on the front curb to Madison Avenue. Oh shit, that's my father. Dottie walked over to join him. Your pop's been looking like Sergeant Slaughter and shit. She bust out laughing all over the place. Look at that nigga. Hut 2, 3, 4, hut 2, 3. Shut up. I wonder where my brother went, Gwinn said. And look, LaRonda's his lieutenant. Those are crazy niggas. Gwinn suddenly became sick to her stomach and took a seat. There was a feeling in her that she didn't want to leave Harlem. Not tonight. Not to go to some quiet farm in Pennsylvania, away from her action, away from the drama, and the comfort of familiarity. The activity on the street was beginning to pick up. Yvonne, Gwen's paternal grandmother, made her way to the front of the building. Trevor and Kenneth were out front talking to Mr. Page, who was leaning against the handicap railing. Oh, this is my jam. Baby, don't leave me. Don't ever desert me. Dottie turned the radio up and sang along. I promise my life to you and I love you always. She apparently heard a knock on the door that Gwinn didn't. Come in. She walked over still singing. Baby, don't leave me. Gwinn grabbed the bottles of Hennessy that they were drinking and quickly swallowed them in the throw blanket that was laid across the top of the couch. Hi, Mr. J. Oh, y'all in here partying, huh? Tekk joked while walking into the living room. You ready to rock and roll? He asked Gwinn, smiling. She frowned and spoke reluctantly. I think I'm going to stay here for one more night, Daddy. You not ready to go? His demeanor came hard and with attitude. No. All right, man. I guess I'm going to see you when I see you then. All right, Daddy. Bye. 11:57 p.m. the same night. Okay, Gwinn, we about to do shots, Samantha yelled from the kitchen as she finished mixing up another blender full of nutcracker. Gwen's phone began to vibrate on her hip. It was her father calling. Hello? G, meet me at the elevator. I want to give you something. All right, Daddy. She hung up and went into the kitchen, taking the cup that Dottie was holding out for her. All right, now, Dottie said, using her free hand to wrestle her unbuttoned jeans back up her thick booty. 1, 2, 3. The girls swallowed the full contents of their cup, each one in a shot. Gwinn rammed her cup onto the counter with such force that it ripped apart. She stumbled backward, back into the living room, where, out of the window, she saw her father walking back towards the building. Oh shit, I forgot I gotta go. Where you going? Nowhere, I'll be right back. She opened up the apartment door and grabbed the edge of the threshold as a balancing act before crossing out. You know this nigga? Gwinn let nature shut the apartment door and looked down the hallway where she saw her father standing with a man she never saw before. Jason's eyes had a certain rigor, like lasers, staring into the elevator that he was standing in front of. Tekk, you know this nigga? What y'all looking at? Gwinn asked, walking toward them from down the hallway. Gwinn, go back inside. She could see a large handgun in her father's hand as he raised it to wave her back, but there was no way she was going back. She walked quicker to confirm what was going on. Gwinn! She leaned to get a visual around the corner of the wall where the elevators were. Oh my God, who is that? The green and brown leather boots hanging out of the elevator froze Gwinn with apprehension. Her brother was the only person she ever saw with those boots. Gwinn, go back inside, sweetie. Oh my God, Junior! She squeezed her fists and her legs locked, rendering her stuck. Fuck that, I'm out of here. The man with Jason made up his mind and jetted off into the stairs. When Jason swung his head around and caught eyes with Gwinn, she ran back to the apartment that she came out of. Gwinn, where the hell you going? She came to a halt by violently ramming the side of her fragile body into the steel threshold of Samantha's apartment. Her adrenaline carried her in and slammed the door behind her. He killed Junior! He killed my brother! Call the police! Call the police! Gwinn paced to and fro uncontrollably. Oh my God! Oh my God! What happened? The cops are right outside. Gwinn, what happened? Samantha asked Gwinn as she tried to catch her breath. Oh shit, look at Tekk. Gwinn rushed over to the window with Dottie and Samantha. Jason was standing in front of the building barely. He was slumped over himself, still holding his gun and stumbling about. Drop the fucking weapon, now! Several plainclothes detectives closed in Jason with their weapons drawn. Without the slightest hesitation, without a second, or first thought for that matter, Jason raised his gun and fired at will. Gwinn felt like life was unfolding before she could process it. And for that reason, she found brief, very brief relief in the possibility that none of this was happening, that this was all a dream. I fucking hate y'all. I fucking hate y'all bitches. Bring it. There were a few isolated shots after a hail of gunfire settled. Gwinn turned and fell dumbfounded to the floor, thinking there was no way that this could be real. This book is dedicated to Layla R. Williams and Nyla K. Smith. The end. Maybe I could wake up and sell all these dimes, and we up by the PM, maybe things will be fine. Still something always comes up, baby, time after time. Still we gon' link up soon, shorty, you gon' be mine. Shorty, you gon' be mine. These are the life and times of the grind that I'm in. I work for me, no bosses, no consignment. I took that dirty money, molded to a diamond. Strong as fuck, still no man is an island. Most help came from my Lord's bounty. Was sent here to do this shit, many will still doubt me. Fuck it, I keep it moving, the next town, the next county. Local cops wanna hound me, snakes wanna drown me, and people are confused, turned around and wanna clown me. I'm independent, who the joke on? When other niggas make more than you off your songs, and you gotta be the worker early in the morning.
Times has been rough, times has been rough. We can't give up, we can't give up now. Stay strong, yeah. Can't walk away now, can't walk away now.
I'd rather risk it all, show my kids what's possible. I'm done tripping, done with the obstacles. You claim you gangster was good, pimp was stopping you. Stop letting the cops lock you. Outer sources box you. Fuck with the dread, put you on the sins that the mouth would do. Lessons in the Lord is powerful. We speak things into fruition, they come to pass. So if you feud off evil, then you can kiss my ass. That's a thing of the past, go check my first testament. There you will see how the architect stepped up to it. This wasn't a sweet ride, was holding my heat high. Was getting that short money, my niggas was flipping pies. Allah opened my eyes, gave it a sincere try, and he saw me through. Now I'm no longer getting by, I get it the fuck in. My team is gon' win, I'm everywhere, Florida, Maine, like nigga, where you been? Times have been hard, I imagine it. That's why when the tests come from the heavens, I'm passing it. I'm not the average, get money from downtown like the Mavericks. Shorty, you're my candy girl. I give you the world, but you already got it. Just learn how to spot it and learn how to use it. Don't be scared to go through it. This is Architekk, that cartel music. My heart felt was foolish to not go to the limit. Now we on the top, my heart's all in it. It's the guard, not the gimmicks. Under squad, it's a menace. We from Harlem world, and we about our business. A trailer loader, city full of snitches, Dutch full of purple, accounts full of digits. In my eyes, there's a sickness. Flee the scene with the quickness. Any nigga feeling strong could get this. I raise this black fist, shit, and hope I strike proper. I'm with the Lord, homie, no weapon form shall prosper. Decide for yourself, is he a saint or a mobster? Why I handle that? We in the back cracking lobster.
Times has been rough, so you can't give up now. We have to hold and stay strong. Can't walk away now. Times has been rough, so you can't give up now. We have to hold and stay strong. Can't walk away now. Can't walk away now. Can't walk away now. When
One, two. 1, 2. 1, 2, 2. 1, 2. Let me get 'em 1, 2. 1, 2, 2. 2, 2, 2, 2. Rents past due and the marshals want me out. I look to the sky, yo, God, what's this about? I thought I was your son, you protect me and hold me. Now I look back, grateful on how you hold me. Things you showed me along the way made me unconquerable, strong the man I am today. No way I let them slander your name. These niggas praise cash and cocaine. We ain't running the same lane. It's strange, I go from town to town, it's the same thing. Poor people losing at the same game. We in a strange land, confiscated by Uncle Sam. But you got a father in heaven, fam, so I know who I am. Yeah, I got knowledge of self, I know my history, therein lies my wealth. So I guess I'm ballin', nigga. I guess I feel I'll all call a nigga, but that's the man at the door, nigga. Now I read about the cave and I'm guessing that is this. I'm sleeping on the steps with the rats and piss. Street pharmacist got bricks of that sticky fifth, trying to flip that to something better than this. That G-double-O-D life, they know he nice and get crazy busy on the mic. Gotta keep the goal in sight, least I should get lost. I done grew from a beast to a boss. Now I feel a force, still on that which the prophets taught. Got to know God from the source, the mouth for the horse, and he don't put me at a loss. This is just a test, I wonder what's next. Yes. So the moral of any stories is never a rock bottom. If your ass still alive, still got a chance to spot him. I found him, hustling green on the streets of Harlem. I kept him in my heart, so it's not a problem to conquer anything that I want. Give me a ride or die, chicken or blunt. Niggas gon' come up with something, and y'all niggas still on the block, still frontin'. Son, I've been around the hills, cousin, and I'm still buzzing. Y'all got bills that y'all still ducking. I got ills, but I'm still thugging. I'm trying to chill, but when the day comes, when the God judging, I'ma be right there smiling, cause I fuck with him.
Another public service announcement from Brill. Men, beware. Use one dab of Brill. Just a little dab makes your hair look excitingly clean, disturbingly healthy. This man dared to use 2 dabs. Now he's in trouble. We refuse to be responsible.
Yo, better give me some shit I could get raw on. Pull a 4-4 on. Clap on niggas late to draw on. The war's on, y'all niggas hitting the chest. Bring this knife to your neck for trying to steal on the set. Bet, get my money leaving Project Fiends wet. Yeah, don't get it fucked up, I'm the captain on deck. Right on the books, checks. Jet off first when it's time to set. The problems I resolve, motherfucker, the name's Tekk.
Seems like you're more on your grind while I'm trying to fight for true love. For true love. Romantically is how I'm trying to be tonight.
We gotta make moves down south that is out to the Midwest. Nigga with straight focus, now I'm staring at your chest. 30 minutes to be on this jet. Let me feel something. If you feeling the nigga, keep it real, mommy, let's build something.
Seems like you're more on your grind while I'm trying to fight for true love. For true love. Romantically is how I'm trying to be tonight.
Baby, I can see the queen in you, the beam in you, the sheen on you, the motherland curves is mean on you. When we was young, I had to lean on you when you held it down. No surprise, the bats running and there's roses all around. Tomorrow we out of town, fuck that. Got a nigga sleeping all day like a house cat. Voice like a sweet trap, I hear that and kick back and lounge on your vibe, baby, word to this track. We grind hard for big stacks and perhaps when I win that gold, we'll get the diamond and knee pad. Know your sis glad, got the life she ain't have. The hood love us, nigga, tell us why you mad.
Seems like you're more on your grind while I'm trying to fight for true love. For true love. Romantically is how I'm trying to be tonight. Cause tonight everything gon' be alright. Cause I have you by my side. I'm gon' ride left hand high. I swear on my life, you mean the world to me, and I won't let you go. I won't let you go.
So now we done being Bonnie and Clyde. We got the crib and the rides and all the joy the devil hides. Besides, I ain't never like to ride for lies. I'm a man of the truth, stunting, I take it 2 for 2. But you got the man seeing colors in the world of his dead. Shooting lines of peace through the ears on my head. Lady in the light, but a freak in the bed. Make room, it's the queen in the dread. You niggas heard what I said.